What's up everybody, starting the second week of 2024 with another video of our week ahead market analysis. A warm welcome to those who have recently joined us and express thanks to those who gave us energy with their positive feedback. If you are watching us on YouTube, please subscribe to the channel so that you don't miss our trade idea during the week. And the first, let's talk about the USD. As we mentioned last week, the US dollar has had a positive move on average at the beginning of every year. This grows slightly lower trader expectation for rate cut in 2024. The Federal Reserve appeared dovish last week, no longer pointing at interest rate hikes, and the only question is this: when will interest rate cut begin? The upcoming week present a dynamic landscape for the US dollar. The focus on economic calendar is especially the release of US inflation data. And the CPI in this week play a pivotal role in shaping market sentiment. It will be released on Thursday. Traders are closely monitoring this data to figure out the overall health of the US economy to forecast the rate cuts. Investors now predict that the interest rate will decrease by a total 1.4%. Additionally, the Federal Reserve decision expected to be influenced by the inflation data. Inflation has decreased recently due to lower goods prices and spending on services, and core inflation has fallen faster than underlying pressures, mainly driven by drops in energy prices in September. The important point of the inflation data is that if the CPI printed more than expectation, the increase the risk of sticky inflation and the interest rate reduction goes further back. This will push back seller and make some gain for US dollar. Now for other currency, the weekly calendar for the euro area is a light calendar, but for British pound, it entered the new week with a positive outlook with higher GDP forecast, the monthly gross domestic product rate, industrial product index, and factory product index for November, all of due out on Friday this week, as you can see them on economic calendar. Since in the last month the British economic growth has taken a downward trend and has shown sign of recession, the GDP is most important data for the British pound this week. If data prints below the expectation, traders could start selling the pound on a speculation that the BOE may actually start cutting interest rate sooner than they currently think. As outlook in economy went combined with US inflation figure, the GDP printed on Friday, so any surprise in printing data could make a good opportunity for trading GBP USD, as the inflation data for USD will be printed on the before on Thursday, and the movement of GBP USD could be clear. We will update you for any signals for this pair by releasing new video of our trading idea. So once again, subscribe our channel to make sure you reach this video in a correct timing.